And welcome to Hannity, and this is a Fox News alert. It is 9 p.m. on the East Coast, 6 p.m. on the West Coast, and we are awaiting the results of the GOP caucuses in North Dakota, where the polls are now officially all closed. We'll continue to monitor and update you throughout the evening. And, of course, Super Tuesday is tomorrow, and these are the states that will be voting tomorrow: Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Maine, Massachusetts, Minnesota, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, and Virginia. There'll be a test after the show. But first, former President Donald Trump scored a major victory today when the U.S. Supreme Court unanimously reversed that ruling that barred him from appearing on the Colorado ballot ahead of tomorrow's primary. Now, saying in the majority opinion, quote, states have no power under the Constitution to enforce Section 3 with respect to federal offices, especially the presidency. President Trump reacted to this decision on Truth Social, calling it a big win for America. And he's right. Based on the oral arguments, the decision is not a surprise. This should have been and was a slam dunk case. And while they issued a concurring opinion, even the three liberal justices, they sided with Trump. Now, today's decision has ramifications well beyond just Colorado. Remember, a judge in Cook County in Illinois ruled that Trump was ineligible for the state's primary ballot just last week. And, of course, in the state of Maine, they have a leftist Secretary of State unilaterally decided to remove him from the ballot in that state without any legal proceedings. But today's decision from the Supreme Court, well, quote, no pun intended, it trumps those rulings, and states had no business with this issue in the first place. And even the court's, well, liberal justices agreed. Now, this would have created nothing but complete chaos in Colorado if Colorado had done this and gotten away with this. And again, it was a slam dunk, but what's extremely alarming is the left's reaction. Let's take a look at their collective meltdown today following this 9-0 decision. Watch.
The Supreme Court handed Trump a second gift in as many weeks on a constitutional technicality.
There are a lot of Americans out there, their blood is boiling over what Donald Trump did on January 6th, what he did leading up to January 6th, and they just think that he's just getting let off the hook scot-free left and right.
The Supreme Court has just said it's up to Congress. So what have they done? Well, they've put it in the capable hands of folks like Jim Jordan, James Comer, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, and others.
I'm glad we're a nation of the rule of law, and the highest court in the United States has ruled on this, and that is important, right? We are still right now effectively a democracy. But in the court of public opinion, Trump will take this, spin it, spread the misinformation, disinformation on it.
I think the Supreme Court has issued bad decisions on democracy.
And here we have in this context, right, a hesitance, that's a reticence, a refusal to hold this man accountable.
Unfortunately for America, the court isn't necessarily wrong that this is the way the framers wanted it to be.
I had far too much hope that the court would be united in this and not overstep in favor of Donald Trump. And I think what we saw was a court where justices that behaved in a partisan manner.
Now, in the majority opinion, the justices did acknowledge that a disqualification for, quote, insurrection can occur, but only when Congress enacts necessary legislation. And, of course, some House Democrats, well, predictably, immediately floated the idea. Here's what the radical Democrat, socialist Jamie Raskin had to say. Watch.
The Supreme Court punted and said it's up to Congress to act. And so I am working with a number of my colleagues, including Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Eric Swalwell, to revive legislation that we had to set up a process by which we could determine that someone who committed insurrection is disqualified by Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. And the House of Representatives already impeached Donald Trump for participating in insurrection by inciting it. So the House has already pronounced upon that.
This is just another pathetic, desperate ploy from the left to interfere in the election and take Trump down by any means necessary. It is important to note, we must all remember, with all the legal hurdles that they have thrown at Donald Trump, the former president, he's never even been charged with insurrection, which has a criminal statute. If you want the specifics, it is Title 18 U.S. Code 2383 that reads, Whoever incites, sets on foot, assists, or engages in any rebellion or insurrection against the authority of the United States or the laws thereof, or gives aid and comfort thereto, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 10 years or both, and shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States. That simply means that even Joe Biden's weaponized DOJ, they didn't even charge him, never mind convict him with all of this, likely knowing that they'd never get a conviction. But thankfully today, the Supreme Court issued the correct decision and preserved the integrity of the Republican primary process. Now, it's been a very busy few days in the court system. Well, earlier today also, the Supreme Court put the new Texas immigration law on hold until March 13th. And on Friday, a federal appeals court panel ruled that some January 6 defendants had their sentences improperly lengthened. All right, a lot of news today. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.